Welcome to this masterclass. Look, if you're managing facilities, equipment, or infrastructure today, you already know the stakes have absolutely skyrocketed. When critical systems go down, it's not just a minor hiccup. You're bleeding capital, you're damaging client relationships, and you're putting safety on the line. So what we're doing here today is an elite professional training session, a true masterclass on strategic CMMS execution. We're going to break down exactly how world-class organizations ruthlessly control costs and maximize asset availability.
But before we get into the mechanics of it all, we really need to confront a pretty harsh reality. 60 to 80% of CMMS implementations completely fail. Just let that sink in for a second. Up to 80%. And why does that happen? Well, it's because way too many companies treat this as just another IT software install rather than a fundamental operational shift. They lack leadership support, they blow the budget, or they just can't get their teams to actually use it every day. This masterclass is going to give you the structured, operational framework you need so you don't become just another statistic.
It really boils down to your core operational philosophy. The old, traditional reactive approach, it just breeds a culture of constant firefighting. You've got technicians spending their entire day running around putting out literal and metaphorical fires. And yeah, they fix the problem, but they aren't doing anything to prevent it from happening again tomorrow. That turns maintenance into a massive financial black hole. Now compare that to a proactive value generator. This is where you use systemic data to perform planned inspections, catching those tiny anomalies long before they snowball into a catastrophic failure. So here's our curriculum progression for today. First, we'll establish the masterclass foundation. Then we dive into advanced maintenance KPIs, followed by overall equipment effectiveness. From there, we move into the implementation blueprint, explore optimization and mobile execution, and finally, we'll lock it all in with a continuous improvement framework. All right, let's jump right into part one, the masterclass foundation, establishing the mindset. Listen, the most successful maintenance organizations out there are not the ones performing the most repairs. They're the ones preventing failures in the very first place. You have to start viewing maintenance as a strategic business capability that demands a real leadership and discipline. To really nail this mindset, just think about your car. Planned maintenance is changing the oil at regular intervals, or checking the tires and swapping them out when the tread gets low. You are in control. You plan the downtime. Unplanned maintenance, that's smelling smoke pouring out from under your hood, pulling over on a busy highway and praying for a tow truck. Waiting for the smoke completely derails your trip, hits you with massive emergency costs, and ruins the engine. Your facility operates on that exact same logic. Moving on to Section 2, Advanced Maintenance KPIs, the quantitative core. World-class organizations absolutely do not operate on guesswork. Why? Because you simply cannot improve what you aren't measuring. So we are going to zero in on the exact key performance indicators that drive elite reliability engineering. Our first critical metric here is MTTR, or mean time to repair. This is the average time it takes to troubleshoot and repair a failed piece of equipment. And make no mistake, this isn't just some niche maintenance stat. It is a severe indicator of operational risk. If you have an inflated MTTR on mission-critical equipment, you're looking at scrapped products, missed deadlines, and severely damaged client relationships. It literally measures how agile and prepared you are to handle a crisis. So the real trick is knowing how to calculate this accurately. MTTR equals your total maintenance time divided by the number of repairs over a specific period. Simple enough, right? But pay close attention to what total maintenance time actually means. It is not just the physical turning of wrenches. It includes the entire life cycle of the breakdown, notifying the technician, diagnosing the root cause, waiting for the machine to cool off, doing the actual fix, recalibrating it, testing it, and finally getting it fully back into production. When you put this into practice, it's pretty eye-opening. In a modern, elite CMMS, you aren't standing there with a stopwatch and a clipboard trying to figure this out. Every single time a system goes down, a timestamp is automatically logged. The database dynamically tracks exactly when that system is back online. By pulling MTTR reports grouped by specific assets, your leadership team can finally make actual strategic decisions. If an aging piece of equipment is taking longer and longer to fix every single month, this data definitively proves when it's economically smarter to just replace the asset rather than fighting a losing battle. Next up, we look at the other side of the coin, which is arguably even more critical. MTBF, or mean time between failures. This is the average operational time between system breakdowns. MTBF is literally the ultimate quantifier of system reliability. It's so foundational that it's used in safe systems design across the globe. Think about companies that offer breakdown assistance. They factor MTBF directly into how they price their models. Because simply put, the lower your MTBF, the higher your operational risk. To figure out your MTBF, you take the total sum of your operational uptime and divide it by the number of repairs. But I want to give you a real masterclass warning right here. Do not blindly trust the manufacturer's laboratory estimates for your MTBF. Those numbers are generated in totally perfect, sterile environments. To get an accurate representation of your reality, you need actual field data logged by your own technicians. Did the humidity affect the machine? Was it installed slightly off? Your MTBF has to reflect your actual operational reality, not some promise printed in a sales catalog.
And an elite CMMS handles that complex operational reality for you automatically. By using simple lookup tables, your technicians just toggle assets online and offline as they go. The software then crunches the numbers and generates this reliability KPI instantly, completely bypassing those error-prone manual spreadsheet calculations we all hate. It gives you an immediate, real-time pulse on the true reliability of everything on your floor. Let's move into Section 3, Overall Equipment Effectiveness, Measuring True Productivity.
So, while MTTR and MTBF are super focused on breakdowns, OEE is the definitive indicator of your total machine efficiency. Honestly, it's the absolute cornerstone of any lean manufacturing or total productive maintenance initiative. OEE is calculated by multiplying 3 rigorous factors together. First is availability. Basically, is the system actually running when we need it to, or are we dealing with breakdowns and setup delays? Second is performance. Is the equipment running at its maximum design speed, or are we experiencing minor little stoppages and idling? And third is quality. Are we actually producing perfect, usable units, or are we churning out defects and scrap? So it's availability times performance times quality measured strictly against your planned production time.
Now, brace yourself for a bit of a hard truth here. In a perfect world, a facility produces the best possible product as fast as possible with absolutely zero downtime. That's an OEE of 100%, which, frankly, is pretty much impossible. But world-class discrete manufacturing plants, they consistently hit an OEE of 85% or better. Meanwhile, the North American average is sitting way down around 60%. Think about that. In school, a 60% is barely passing. In manufacturing, that 25% gap is pure lost revenue, wasted labor hours, and invisible inefficiencies bleeding your bottom line dry. Bridging that specific gap is exactly why we implement a CMMS.
All right, Section 4, the implementation blueprint, executing preventative maintenance.
Here's the thing. Tracking all these advanced KPIs means absolutely nothing if you don't actually execute against them. The engine for that execution is PMC, or Preventative Maintenance Compliance. Your PMC score tells you the exact percentage of scheduled preventative work orders that actually get done on time, because a brilliant strategy is totally useless if nobody follows it. We have to push PMC to the highest possible levels because of one staggering financial reality. Unplanned breakdown maintenance costs anywhere from 3 to 9 times more than planned maintenance. Let me say that again, 3 to 9 times more. When you fail to plan, you are choosing to pay for rushed overnight parts, massive service call-out fees, scrapped production runs, and a ridiculous amount of emergency overtime.
Flip that around and look at the massive operational dividends you get from a disciplined, planned maintenance blueprint. For starters, properly maintained equipment just inherently uses less energy. Planned work drastically cuts down on production scrap because the maintenance is happening when the equipment is safely offline anyway. And please, do not underestimate the human element here. Constantly battling emergencies totally destroys staff morale. Planned maintenance optimizes your resources, it makes your budgets entirely predictable, and it massively drops the stress levels of your entire technical team.
That brings us to Section 5, Optimization and Mobile Execution, Leveraging Technology.
World-class operations never stop optimizing, and they leverage modern tech to strip all the operational friction out of their processes. You just cannot run an advanced facility today using paper files and a chaotic email inbox. Take spare parts management, for example. Doing that manually is just pure chaos. But if you use tools like a parts forecaster inside a smart CMMS, the system does the heavy lifting for you. It automatically analyzes your historical usage, looks ahead at your upcoming schedule, and even factors in seasonality trends. It is the ultimate cure for those massive, clunky inventory spreadsheets. It tells you exactly what parts you need and precisely when to order them, practically guaranteeing you'll never face a stockout in the middle of a critical repair.
Plus, execution has to happen where the actual work happens, which is out on the floor.
Having mobile CMS execution is a massive tactical advantage. Your technicians can pull up their work orders, log their hours, and check asset histories right from their iOS or Android device. But here is the real game changer: offline capabilities. If a technician is way down in a concrete basement pump room with zero internet signal, they can still execute their entire workflow. The second they step back into a Wi-Fi zone, all that data syncs up automatically. It completely eliminates data entry friction and keeps your team moving. And finally, Section 6, Continuous Improvement Framework, the Master Cycle. All right, we've covered the mindset, the metrics, the execution, and the tech. Now it is time to tie the whole thing together into the exact 6-step continuous improvement framework used by the best in the world. Buying software doesn't create success. Success requires an absolute, unwavering commitment to this specific cycle. Step 1, you plan your maintenance proactively. Step 2, you execute it flawlessly via mobile compliance. Step 3, you measure the results using clean data. Step 4, you analyze those advanced KPIs we talked about, like MTTR and OEE. Step 5, you identify the bottlenecks and improve your processes. And finally, Step 6, you repeat the whole cycle, raising the baseline every single time. A CMMS is simply the high-performance data engine you need to sustain this exact framework at scale. As we wrap up this masterclass, I'm going to leave you with one highly critical question, and you really need to answer this for your own organization. Is your maintenance program going to remain a reactive cost center, just endlessly putting out fires and bleeding capital? Or are you ready to apply the principles, the data frameworks, and the technologies we've unpacked today to completely transform it into a strategic, value-generating business function? The blueprint is right here in your hands. The time to execute is right now. Thank you for attending this masterclass.